Much as I thought I could plan a podcast, that is not going to happen. I do not have the mindset to sit here. Chop up block for block how I'm going to tell you about weight loss and weight gain. Good morning on this Friday, February 25th, 2022. The time is 12:30 a.m. and welcome to Early in the a.m. with Isha. The topic I wanted to talk about today, besides, watching, skating, and learning about what's going on in Ukraine, was the fear of dying. I think my brain is caving in, is what it feels like. The thing that makes me nervous is the numbness I feel when the topic comes up. Because, for a long time I was always afraid to live. I would do things that I know I could get away with, certain things I know I was capable of, but I was always scared to take that next step. And then I fell into this position from promiscuity and chastity that forced me to walk through flames daily. And the things I used to bawl over, the things that used to drive me crazy, I'm now in this place where I get numb so fast. It's like I don't have the ability to cry when I'm hurt. It's like I'm so used to being hurt that the tears have just been redirected somewhere else. And then just the thought of death coming up, it puts me in that place again. That place, that cradle I created in my head about, something about I read in the Bible about the day of birth is, not, the day of death is celebrated, and the day of birth is, God cries his tears. And I didn't want to believe that. That's really insensitive to people who are really hurting, to smile and be happy when somebody passes away, and especially when it's somebody close. I don't, part of me is hypocritical on feeling that way. It was like, I don't have the right to feel that way, even if God says it's okay. It's like, where do you draw the line? And when is it disrespectful to feel that way? Can you even keep it to yourself? Can you just fake it? Just fake it, at least to give people comfort. You know what I mean? Especially when they're grieving and things like that. And this whole thing going about people becoming one, back with the earth again, and everybody flowing forward in unison. And we're not really losing them. They're just going from being, on the earth and the living to within the earth on the orbital celestial plane until, the sun caves in and then the earth gets sucked into the black hole with the rest of the planets. Like, that's what I was kind of placing it, but I guess I don't have the right, even if I believe it. So do I have a right to do that publicly around people who is expecting some type of emotional sympathy from you? They expect their feelings to be able to crash into you on sight because that's how they feel. And then 1 ounce of negative energy, 1 ounce, can spin everything into a tailspin. How are you careful? Where's the responsibility? You ever go through something too soon in life and now you're over prepared for everything? You're over prepared for everything, and then the things you need, you're so underprepared. You just don't know how to turn the time capsule upside down to start the sand coming down again. I was thinking about that today. We got some family issues going on. I don't want to go into detail because I don't think I have the right to right now. But I will soon enough. Took me a nice hot shower so I could relax. I've been up all day, and then I've been asleep all day too. I've been up for hours. I think I've been up at the wrong times. I've been up in the AMs, like early AMs, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning for the past 2 days, and then I've been asleep 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon for the past 2 days. So it's like my times kind of switched a little bit. How serious the COVID protocol is. It's so serious. And I haven't gotten my vaccines. I've only taken one COVID test, the at-home one, and I only took it because it was given to me. I took it 15 minutes, says you're COVID free. I wasn't expecting anything else. I don't go anywhere to be exposed to anybody. And when I do go out, I'm so protected. I'm so in my own orbit of things. It's kind of like your energy bounces things off that's not in your normalcy. Go through normal things, and then you get this normal protection about you. And it's almost like getting thick skin. Your orbit and your aura around you becomes part of your thick skin, and it's hard for things to get to you. Insults, viruses, you become asymptomatic sometimes only because your stubbornness makes you that way, and things just kind of bounce off you and go back in the universe. Even things that normally could get to you or make you sick. I've been thinking about, what I've been doing with myself for the past couple of weeks. I haven't been entering my vlogs like I used to. I mean, my vlogs, my podcast episodes like I used to. I keep looking at other social media entertainers and finding out what are they doing that I'm not doing. And it seems like every single one of them that are successful, they have a consistency that's very popular. It's very attractive. It's very synergetic. And I look at mine and it's so depressed and it's kind of broken and it's scarred. And then there's just like no upbeatness about it. There's no sign of life around me when I make these podcasts. You don't hear kids running around or pets barking. You don't hear the happiness in my voice that says to you, I'm entertaining company at all times. I have a family. I'm just part of a unit. I guess that presence isn't there, so how can I expect popularity to come crashing into my life? Begging, getting on my hands and knees and then begging the powers that be to accept me back. I feel like I know I alienated you and I stepped out on this limb trying to figure something out and you needed me in a certain way and I didn't accept it that way. And now I'm trying to ask for your forgiveness and they just don't know my name. It's like, meet us halfway. Prove that you've learned your lesson. If you can meet us halfway, there's nothing we can do but embrace you, because that's what we do for people who work hard enough. Their energies crunch and clamp on each other, and then we have nothing else but to accept you in. Now I'm sitting here with, this dynamic, like, what is my attractiveness? Like reading poetry. I was like, yeah, now you got to go out there and compete with other people who read poetry. I know you don't have any kids. You have so much free time. How do you incorporate that? How do you embrace the technological culture that is alive today? You know what I mean? No, I think that's what the fear of death is. Realizing, not act when you actually die. That part, I guess you got to submit to it in a way to keep it from being extremely hard. But knowing your limits. I think people who are afraid of death don't really know what their limits are. Limitations come with feelings. They come with barriers. They come with stubbornness. They provide things that prepare your body for what it means to stop, no matter how fast you're going, no matter how hard you're going. Even though you feel like you're uncontrollably barreling down this way, a limitation has this impossible power to stop you. I think people who have those type of powers about them aren't afraid of death at all. Because they always say that even if I'm rolling, I'm in any position I'm in, even if I'm out of control, even if I feel like I'm in convulsions and spasm and I'm just in involuntary bliss, I have limitations and boundaries that I practice so innately, so perfectly, that even no matter how hard things go, I can wake up in the moment and my limitation will protect me. I think those type of people aren't afraid of death. Getting that deep in the involuntary requires so much trust on behalf of you trusting yourself and then knowing yourself and then trusting the process in the public with other people. One thing that makes me happy, I have to give a shout out to the hospitals and the protocols they have in place for the public when it comes to COVID. They mean business. And I thought I was, I feel so unfamiliar when I'm in the hospital setting, even when it's just downstairs at, the guest services desk or security. That's another thing that wakes me up when I'm not in my room, when I'm not in this abyss or this funk I have about myself. When I'm out in public, it demands me to be a certain way. It demands me to respect the authority around me. And even though, I don't entertain disrespect like that, just knowing that I have the ability to not spaz out when a certain stature is required of me on the spot, even if I don't feel like it. It's like my body just doesn't feel like it. I do it anyway. I think the exhaustion has to be pleasurable for you to respect society like that. I guess that's what I feel, how I feel. I was watching some of the fighting going on in the Ukraine, and it's just trying to figure out where my care is about it. Because I got a degree in government studies, and I should be all over this like blueberry sauce on pancakes. I'm like, why? I think where the drawback comes in is how fearful I was about our prior conflicts. Kind of you get burned out, and you're still trying to act like that energy pot doesn't have the cracks in it, and that thing isn't sparking and shooting in all kinds of directions like it is. How scared you were about how the public conflict involving the U.S. with anybody else, especially when it came to the war on terror. I'm like, I really went through a burnout unnecessarily, just on my personal convictions. That alone, I went into government studies to put a handle on how I felt about it. I'm so burned out about it. I guess it's okay to feel that way. Feelings are okay to have. You know what I mean? Normally I would get up in arms about anything about politics in the U.S. and I'd just be interested. What's going on? What are they doing? About Crimea or the Ukraine or the U.S. The Emirate states, terrorism and terrorism. Or what's going on in the South and Central America with the migrations and the Latin Americans, they're marching toward the U.S. and the Mexico border, trying to get in. All those things is interest. You're there, and then Black Lives Matter. You're there, and all of a sudden burnouts. It's like you can done did 100 push-ups, and now you can barely lift your arm. 100 push-ups. Oh, if I did 100 push-ups, burn the hell out of myself. That's one thing I'm concerned about. I haven't exercised at all. But I know I haven't, so me complaining about it isn't helping. That's just something you just do. You should do it. Listen to this song. It's the A.E.V. line. L-I-G-N. It's the love cannot replace our minds. It cannot rectify the truth. Though sometimes we define our issues in the lack of, in the backdrop, miss the feelings, misaligning the root, leaving Sleepy Hollow without a booth, as if God would ever choose my life over you. This ain't the fractured moon in which we both get a piece. We both can't lose, we align to calm the tide. In the sign of race cards, we move the time away from the idea and toward the light. We forgive our history and pursue the ministry, giving God the glory, or at least we try to make sense out of a senseless crime, cleaning up the blood and drying the eyes, memorializing those that died, aligned to those that